Hello everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. I am going on my usual forest walk this afternoon. Just got off of work. Here's the entrance to the woods, actually, before you walk in. It says hiking trail. You go back there and it's like a little half-mile loop, but it's cool because it's right in the middle of town. As you can see, there's like other stuff around. Water tower over there. There's a bunch of stores and stuff that way, but you've kind of got just like this wilderness, this like forest that's pretty secluded. I mean, it's a public trail, but there's really not that many people that come back here. So it's a really cool place to meditate, good place to do videos, get away, go on a walk, whatever. All of these things. Need to find me an appropriate stick to use so that I can get rid of the cobwebs as I'm going down the trail. Sometimes you got to find one that's just the right length. But in today's video, I think I'm going to entitle this video something along the lines of The Ultimate Conspiracy, or something along those lines. I had something a little bit better. Maybe the Ultimate Conspiracy, the Grand Conspiracy, something like that. So, I forgot I was also going to bring my Tree of Life chart with me, but we will, because I would like to talk more about the Tree of Life and the Sephiroth and break down each of the separate Sephiroth and kind of go into each of them, and also kind of go into some of the initiations and some of the path working that like Israel Regardie covers. And pretty sure it's a Garden of Pomegranates. That's a really good book if you're into Kabbalah, if you're into the Tree of Life. If you're into Western ceremonial magic, I would say Garden of Pomegranates by Israel Regardie is a must-have. Now, I don't always agree with everything that Israel Regardie says, and he tends to focus on things a little bit differently. Like, he's all about banishing. I don't really see him talking about invoking that much. I don't think I've really read much about invoking pentagrams in his work. He's always talking about the banishing, and that I think he was like a psychologist or something, so that's probably why he's really into things like the LBRP, like the clearing away of everything, all the mental junk, so to speak. But when you're doing that, you're also getting rid of like some built up energy too, so you're not gonna always want to be banishing. That's something I've kind of tried to like reiterate on my channel for the past year or so now, because if you're just banishing, all you're doing is wiping the slate clean, and you're not able to build up energy. You're just getting rid of it constantly. So invoking is important too. But since I don't have that Tree of Life chart, I'm guessing this will be a pretty brief video. But the Grand Conspiracy. So I've noticed there's a lot of people who are still stuck in the dichotomy of kind of the whole like angels and demons being at war. It's this war of shadow versus light. And and we kind of get that programmed into ourselves through superhero movies and all the movies really. Just media, all those sorts of things. It's an us versus them type thing, black and white, etc. This goes on and on and on. But as we've talked about on this channel multiple times, the angels and the demons and forces on the Sephirothic tree, such as more unifying features, like Hesed, mercy, is more about like unity. Kether is ultimate unity, but mercy is kind of that. It's like the merging together, whereas Gebura is the opposite. It's the separation. It's the separating factor. It's the negative factor. but you need both of those on the tree of life. You know, it's just as important to have that negative aspect of creation, which manifests itself through, you know, demonic energies and things of that nature, to break down certain components within reality that are not in alignment with the natural cycle of things, so that, you know, new creation can be brought forth. So out with the old, in with the new. We see this theme constantly with like death and resurrection. You know, you read about that constantly in like esoteric books, and people basically saying that same thing in like 1,000 different ways. Like, you die, you go through trials, you're initiated, you go through the, you know, the flames of initiation, and you come out reforged on the other side. So even in initiation and working through different grades of, you know, systems, magical systems, etc., there's going to be both that factor of building up, bringing things together, and then there's going to be, that's why Hesed is attributed to Jupiter, because Jupiter is about abundance, it's about building up, whereas Gebura, severity, is about the separating factor. But in Kabbalah, Qliphoth, and Goetic Magic by Thomas Carlson, he really goes into detail, you know, really well in that book about the separating factor of creation, and how separation is actually, ironically, and, you know, it's kind of a, not oxymoron, what's the word I'm looking for? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I know what word I'm trying to say, but it's not coming forth. Not conundrum. Anyway, I'm sure it'll come to me later. But how the separating factor of life is actually part of the creation process. So you have to have division, you have to have splitting of cells, essentially, to create new life. So it's constantly this balancing of separating things and bringing things together, unifying and pushing apart, magnetizing and pushing outwards. So it's that positive and that negative, that constant balance of these two different, you know, quote unquote degrees of existence, you know, in this giant equation, which are all the occult forces behind the scene world. And then all of those effects, paradox, that's the word I was looking for just a minute ago that I couldn't think of. But all of these different forces kind of working together in this giant equation that comes together, and then life as we see it, you know, is manifested forth. So the grand conspiracy is that the universe is conspiring in your favor. It's conspiring for you. That's the conspiracy. The universe is conspiring with you to help you in your evolution. Regardless of the pain, regardless of the sorrow, regardless of how hard the trials here, you know, on this, how hard the trials are here on this planet, all of these things are actually done out of unconditional love, believe it or not, to push you sometimes to that pressure. Anybody who's been initiated into a mystery school system knows about, you know, the quote unquote pressure, the quote unquote separating factor. Alchemy, separating the component parts and reuniting them into a new form. So alchemy. But yes, angels and demons. There is a book, I think it's called The Secret History of the World. Marcus Booth, I want to say, is who authored that book. That's a great book. There's a quote in that book that goes something along the lines of, I didn't realize the demons were just angels. I didn't realize that the demons that were ripping and tearing apart my flesh were really just angels who were trying to, help me, push me towards my higher self. So a lot of the times, see, that's just the thing. It's all about the way we perceive things. Sometimes a force could come into your life to be a catalyst for evolution, and you might be really scared. A lot of people are, like I said, are still kind of in it's like angels versus demons. It's a war. It's good versus evil. But once again, it's the ultimate conspiracy that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even if it doesn't seem like it from where we are in this space-time. On a higher level, your higher self is pushing you, is testing your boundaries, because it knows that that's the fire that you have to, be forged in to become your true self. So, in short, yes, the universe is conspiring in your favor. Demonic or breaking down type energies for when things need to be gotten rid of, where things need to be moving forward. And then abundance type energies and uplifting and healing energies. So more angelic, more positive energies for when you need those energies in your life. So there's always going to be a time and a place for certain things. That's what people will often not understand. Some people will go so far into the destructive path. It's not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but you can see how people will almost like shoot themselves in the foot. They're going down a path that's like too difficult, and it's unneeded. It may not actually be in their best evolutionary, interest to do so, but I have seen people who will, it's like almost like they purposefully go down a path of self-destruction, but sometimes that's a karmic law, or a karmic effect of having to come to terms with something. And a lot of people want to be against the matrix. They want to be against the society. But what this plane of existence does, what the matrix does, is it makes all of us face who we really are in our physical forms, because we're not these boundless, infinite beings in this particular space-time. We are. We have those abilities. We can travel anywhere. We can do anything. But we're still physical beings. We're still here. So we're dealing with more physical matters, and every physical act, every thought, every word, everything has its karmic effect. So cause and effect. A lot of people want to they want to understand why the world is the way that it is, but they will also refuse to even observe cause and effects. Understanding how energy can be built up and how it can be drained so easily, and how a lot of us, drain our energies very, very quickly. Things like money are symbolic of energy. Things of that nature. Very water. You have banks of money, just like a river bank. Money flow, water. Just hit 1333, that was cool. So yeah, money's just kind of a symbolic thing of energy, and it's not really a great system, as we all know. If anybody knows about the Federal Reserve and all of those sorts of things, and the interest that is accrued on the dollar from when it's very first created, we know that all of these things are corrupt and wrong, but they also have their place. There's a reason why that is set up the way that it is. So, but in this moment, right now, you can view all the unlimited factors surrounding you in existence. The positive, the negative, the angelic, the demonic. It's all around us. It's all manifesting in different ways here in Malkuth, in the material realm. And you are the dot in the center of all of it. You are the center of the universe. Connect with your highest self, and don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that source is within you. You are source, and we are all aspects of the divine. We all have gifts to share, things to bring to the table. And so I guess in ending out this video, the ultimate conspiracy. We've all heard the terms like world order and things of that nature. I've known that term for years. I started studying conspiracy theories back in like 2012. So ever since like 2011, 2012, I've heard that term, people say world order or whatever. Yes, it has a physical manifestation. People have an idea of what that actually means to them. But what is the deeper underlying, go away, bug. Some mosquito wanting to follow me. What is the deeper understanding of this? What is the deeper component to the one order? What does that mean? So a lot of people are going to visualize that as a government or a system in place upon the earth, which unifies and brings all countries and all governments together to one place. That's kind of the general understanding of it. But there's a deeper component to it. There's a deeper component. So you're going to have a physical manifestation of an order, but before that can happen, what is the ultimate idea of order anyway? Well, we were talking about separation and unifying earlier. So ultimately, I think unification. Oh, there's a monarch butterfly. Really pretty. Very special. You don't see those back here too often. Sometimes you do. Not that often. Usually it's the more common butterflies. So this order, this world order, is unity. It's the unity of all the varying influences, all the variables, the positive and the negatives balancing themselves out until you get to the crown on the top. What is the crown? The crown is the unification. It is the reconciling of all of these forces. If you've ever seen a double-headed eagle with a crown on top of its head, that's what that's truly symbolic of. The crown is the unifying principle, which the double-headed eagle, symbolizing duality, wears upon its head. So the two heads could be seen as Hokmah and Binah, and then the crown being Kether. Now, the reverse of this, the two-headed eagle, if you're looking at the tree of death, would be, Gagiel and Satariel, crowned by Thamael. So that would be like the reverse, or the mirror version of that upper trinity that we were just talking about. So this order that people talk about in conspiracy theories, the deeper spiritual component to it is ultimately unity. Unifying of all these, the unification of all of these different principles, basically the sum equation of all things being brought back into one. Unification. But as we said before, there always has to be a separating factor at some point. So it's very easy in the physical realm, for a unity or an order of such to become, it could easily become corrupted and not really represent the higher spiritual principles that it's actually supposed to represent. It just becomes more, people get lost in the literalness of things. People get lost in what is just appearing before you physically, what you're seeing manifested physically. But there's always a deeper spiritual component behind it. And once you start to lose sight of that, that's really when you start to lose sight of the whole thing. So a lot of esotericism, a lot of occult stuff, it's just like, if you don't really understand what the different depictions are, the deeper meanings of certain depictions, whether those be gods or goddesses or any of the mythologies, any of the stories, if you're not understanding the deeper purpose behind it and the deeper purpose behind why things manifest in this world, then you're just going to get stuck on form. You're not really going to understand essence. You're just going to see form. So the true order is the balancing of nature, the unifying of principles back into one, and then the separation once again. Separation for the sake of unity so that it can unify once again. So it's this constant contracting, retracting. Am I saying that right? Outwards, inwards. So if we look at like the ein on the tree of life, the no thing, that's the limitless all. Well, it's beyond the limitless all. It's the quote unquote no thing. But what it is it's limitless potentiality, yet unmanifested. It's outside of creation almost. So the expanding forth from this ein, from the no thing. It's funny because creation is in fact a limitation. We were all one. It was all together. It was all the order, the one order. And then it separated. There was a quote-unquote fall. So that this source, God, ein, whatever you want to call it, could thus know itself. This is the order of things. This is the natural cycle of things. So, alrighty, everybody. I hope this was an interesting enough video today for you. If you are new to the channel, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. We talk obviously about different esoteric spiritual subjects on here. And if you found value from this video, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more content like this on here. Some of the things I talk about are hard to understand unless you've done previous studies or you've watched earlier content on my video, on my YouTube channel. So make sure you go and check out older videos if some of these topics are unfamiliar to you, or maybe look them up. But yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to add is, like I said before, there's a time and place for everything. There's a time when it's natural and it's right for the universe to kind of unify and come back together, all things merging into one. But, obviously there's a lot of room for corruption and perversion when you're trying to make everything the same, or when creation is coming back into one, And then there's also a time for there to be kind of chaos and separation, so that the falsity, so that the fakeness can come back, and that which is not authentic, that which is not real, can crumble away and, basically be crumbled to dust or whatever. And then the new plant can rise, the flower can rise from the ashes. So, from the roots. And we know the roots are the roots of the tree are truly the tree of death. The flower comes forth, which is pretty, from the nasty mud and the dirt. So, all right, everyone. I meant to end this video a minute ago, so please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. Be sure to click the like button and click the notification bell if you want to be notified of new videos. Also, be sure to go and check out my Patreon as well. The link should be in the description of my channel. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of this video. A lot of my videos do have a link to the Patreon on there. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you go and check that out. I appreciate each and every one of you for staying tuned with me. If you've made it this far, just hit 2333. That was cool. So, all right, everybody. I think I will end it there for today. So peace and blessings. And until next time, everyone, take care.